We need your tefillah each and every year to bring the Geula. Don't talk, just daven, so your tefillah can reach Hashem. We need your tefillah each and every year to bring the Geula. Don't talk, just daven, so your tefillah can reach Hashem. This was one of the greatest English songs ever written by Miami Boy Choir. And it should really inspire you all of the importance of acting dignified in the Beis Medrash. When one is praying, when one is learning, there's a boy, I'll mention his name, Avram Yitzchak. I used to learn with a little bit in Lakewood. And he made this takana that he's not going to speak for the first half hour of learning with his chavrusa, with his study partner. He's refusing to speak anything but what is in the Torah text itself. You know, most people who sit down to learn in kolos and yeshivas, they get sidetracked and they start talking about other things. But he understood that how he starts his learning is how it's going to continue. He was very machbid on this, and it brought him much success. So this is one aspect, to take one's learning serious. To not, that when you sit down, like certain rabbis would even have a designated chair. They would only sit at this chair and this table to learn Torah. Nothing else was allowed on this chair. While they sat on this chair, that's all they did. So therefore, they would never have any thoughts when they sat on this chair except the learning of Torah. So a person has to be serious when it comes to their learning and put themselves in a serious atmosphere around serious people that are not going to distract them. And this is the greatness of a Beis Medrash, is that the Beis Medrash itself is supposed to help a person to elevate their study. It's not a place to be for entertainment. Now, as we know, it's a difficult thing for people to not talk during prayers. Why they do so when it says very straight in halacha that it's totally asur, it's totally forbidden to even speak of important matters during prayer. Even Torah talk should not be spoken about during praying time. You're there to pray, you're standing before the King of Kings. That's it. You don't talk about the weather. You don't talk about what you're going to do after the prayer. You get there, you sit down, you talk. Before you begin praying, once you say the word Ashrei, the mouth is zipped. Until the last Kaddish, you don't talk. Respect for the prayer place and for your prayers will grant you respect from Hashem and the answer for your prayers due to this. If you disrespect the prayer place, and the prayer place is not going to be for you the place that's going to elevate you and to bring you to Kedusha, because you've deframed it, you've treated it unjustified. You know what many synagogues do when they find that people can't be quiet during prayers? This includes during the learning of the Torah. It's forbidden to talk. They make them the gabbai. They make them the rabbi's assistant, the caretaker of the synagogue. So they should sit people down. And they should also make other people quiet. Because these people, they just can't stop. They can't stop talking. Now, maybe I shouldn't be the one to say this because my human nature is, even though I'm talking on film, but generally I'm a quiet person when I'm in public. And so, it's not such a hard test for me to be quiet during synagogue. My friends, I can count on my fingers in the last 10 years how many times I talked during prayer. And I remember even those few moments. There was one time I was praying, and my child said something to me, and I said, stop, or something, because they were doing something wrong. I said one word, I said, stop. This happened about 2 years ago. There was another time, it was on a plane, when I was making Aliyah and coming to Israel. This was about 4 years ago. I said to the flight attendant, because we were all davening Shemona Esrei in the aisles, and she was very mad because someone was in the middle of Shemona Esrei, and they wouldn't move aside for her, and she wanted to get by. And so I said to her, I said, no, he's praying. This was the third time that I spoke in the last 10 years. I believe there was one other time, and I can't remember specifically what I had said. But the point is, you don't talk during davening. And it's not even a big thing that I haven't in so many years, because it's forbidden. You're not supposed to do that. How did I learn to be so machbid, to follow this halacha when so many people have trouble? Because of my father, Shalom Zav ben Yaakov, may Hashem have an aliyah shemayim. When I grew up, he gave such a love for Torah and respect for the rabbis speaking that when I was 6 years old, I used to sit next to him, listen to Reb Moshe Heinerman speak Divrei Torah, and I didn't say a word for 45 minutes, an hour. I was 7 years old. And when I was next to him in davening, he said to me, you never say a word during davening. You never speak during davening. And he wouldn't allow me. If I were to say something, I was stopped. I was disciplined from a little boy. But not only this, to just emphasize not to speak during prayer is not going to sink in enough to children and to people. But it has to be an all-around respect for what's going on during prayer. My father said to me, he said, when the Chazan is repeating the Shemona Esrei, we stand. We're not lazy. We're not going to sit. And he took me, and we stood up. If he wasn't feeling good, he sat down a little bit. But if it all humanly possible, we stood up the entire time. And you know how long the reading of the Torah is on Shabbos? Well, I was allowed to sit down between the lanings, but the entire time that the rabbi was reading from the Torah, my father had a standing. This was, if the guy was reading very slowly, this could be for an hour, maybe more.